All right, welcome to the TGIF episode and edition of the program Spring Trends on Western Spring Television. My name is Emmanuel Ujadigele. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. All right, welcome back to the show. Like I told you, Spring Trends, where we'll bring you who is trending, what is trending, why they are trending, and what people are saying about the who, the what, and the why. Before we go into the show proper this morning, you saw on your screen there a screenshot of the CBN website. Yesterday, today, the deadline is supposed to elapse. That's the cash swap policy deadline was supposed to elapse today. But we heard in the course of the week that the Supreme Court gave a ruling halting that deadline. But interestingly, the Central Bank of Nigeria put up a countdown on their website, and this screenshot was taken at 11:30 p.m. yesterday, and the Central Bank was still saying that there's 30 minutes to the end of that deadline, which seemed to be in flagrant disregard for the ruling of the Supreme Court. But that's not what we'll be focusing on this morning. This morning, we'll begin on the streets of Twitter, where political associates and supporters of different parties have begun to fight each other. Our son of the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Seun Kuti, came at Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party, and said that the man was an opportunist who doesn't have any plans for Nigeria and does not mean well for the country. And his supporters, popularly known as Obedient, were not having it. What did they do? They came back at Seun Kuti in full force. Now let's take some of their responses to Seun's tweet. We'll start with FS Yusuf. FS Yusuf says, if Fela was alive, he would slap Seun Kuti's mouth for calling Peter Obi an opportunist. My father can be a freedom fighter against the corrupt establishment, and I will grow up and be ass-licking the establishment. In fact, if I read that my great-grand P was one, I will idolize him. Deji Toby comes next. He says, a chain-smoking son failed to leverage on his father's legacy of musical campaign for political emancipation and liberation to make a national name for himself. If grabbing an opportunity was that easy, Seun should have used Fela's fame to float a political party and change Nigeria. Okila Priest says, Peter Obi left PDP, went to Labour Party that has no elected official, has been working hard, moving around 247, preaching the good news of new Nigeria to Nigerians at home and abroad. Yet one Seun has the temerity to call him an opportunist. Obedient should not drag him because his father, Fela. Momo Maurice Monye says, there's this show Seun Kuti does on radio with another lady. Half of the time, I'm always thinking, what the hell is he on about? You know how stoners have theories about everything? That's how it sounds. Not surprised. Bat Exterminator says, it is laughable that Seun Kuti calls another opportunist, but forgot he tried to ride on the NSAS protest wave to revive his father's moribund political party called Movement of the People. What do you call such a person? Opportunist. Nefertiti says, Shore Sega, Seun Kuti, Deji Adeyanju. Peter Obi has exposed all the fake activists in Nigeria. Nigeria is a crime scene. Use your head. Think for yourself. Do not allow any son of Adam to deceive you. Shine your eyes. Focus is key. S. Kabiru says, I can swear down I've never heard one Seun Kuti song. Not because I don't like him as an artist, but because I never even knew he was an artist. I always thought it was just another Kuti name, opportunist. AJ Morgan says, Seun Kuti released his first album in 2008, that's 15 years ago. Tems released her debut in 2020, and in less than 3 years, she won a Grammy. Yet, she don't think Peter Obi's movement is too young. Bro, it's not by number of years, it's originality that moves the market. Chief Namso says, Fela berated Buhari, disliked him, and never wanted him anywhere near power. If anyone is disrespecting Fela, It's Sheung who supported the same man his dad detested 30 years ago. Prince says Peter Obi left PDP and joined a party with no single elected official, no offices in many states, and in less than 7 months turned it into a national party. And you dare open your brown teeth to call him an opportunist? An opportunist is Sheung thriving on the name Fela Kuti. Distinguished Everest says, Lola Shunei, Buhari arrested my father, but I will vote for him. Sheung Kuti, Buhari arrested my father, but I will vote for him. If I can forgive him, you too forgive him. Me, they can't forgive Peter Obi, who did nothing to them. David Ondeyi says, Peter Obi has already crossed the Rubicon. So all these, they are all the same, and none of them is a sane talk, is a waste of Sheung Kuti's time. It has zero impact at this point, except to piss people off. The time for all this chat was like a year ago. Far too late now. Now, from Sheung Kuti and the public debacle there, we move on to another dragging on social media. Now, when the Central Bank of Nigeria brought up its policy and the Supreme Court halted the implementation of today's deadline, the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, asked the Supreme Court to dismiss a file by 3 state governments challenging the Naira redesign policy. But now let me show you the reaction of Portable Okikiola to that back and forth between Sheung Kuti and the Obedient.
Wala. I go by name Portable Amalalomi. Esha Slim ko gba kankan Eka of Africa. Ani Guleti. Young fella. You said it. Come. I hear say they insult Fela Kuti family. You ever say you and your family na see their life na no play again.
Well, you can see Portable's response there. Very interesting one. Okay, so we'll move on to Abubakar Malami now, who said that the Supreme Court should dismiss the suit filed by the 3 state government challenging the Naira redesign policy of the central bank. Now, immediately he made that statement. The head of the Tinubu Presidential Campaign Council, the media department, Bayo Ononuga, came out and said that Abubakar Malami is also public enemy number 1, like Emefiele. My Murphy baby is public enemy. But now let's see how people have responded to that particular allegation. We'll start with Pastor Who. Pastor Who says Emefiele and now Abubakar Malami share the same stance with this Naira redesign policy. If you look closer, both share something in common. One failed at running for president, the other failed at bullying his way through to contesting for governor. We were right all along. Pato says a government that fights itself. When Nigerians complained about harsh policies and actions like border closure, fuel price hike, etc., you, Bat and Associate, called Nigerians whalers. Today, because it will affect your camp in the election, all of you have joined the whaling business. Let's take Teddy. Teddy says the enemy of the public is the one that hoarded billions to buy votes. You know who that person is. Count Essa says 1 year of ASU strike, nothing from APC. Insecurity everywhere, nothing from APC. Fuel scarcity, not APC concern. High cost of living, APC, nada. But currency redesign and Naira swap, APC turned preacher and fighter. Nikuri Iliribu. I don't know what that means in Yoruba. I don't understand Yoruba. That's this person's opinion. Now, Bakari says, save for political appointment. I wonder how a character like Malami got to become Attorney General of the Federation. Someone with high level of incoherence. How a character like him came about his law certificate and stand position remain mysterious. May 29th is nearby and he will fade away. Mark Dunn says the public enemies are the one who hoarded money for vote buying, which is against electoral law. Some people are crying because they stockpiled old notes for vote buying. Kai, you can see that person's response there. Itwa, Ohio, comes next and says, why is it convenient to blame Emefiele, Malami, and every other person, but not the president on his instructions and approval of the act? And Pressure says, APC has turned Nigeria to Fuji House of Commotion. Is this the change that APC promised Nigeria? Let's assume that you can't give us any positive change. Was this the next level you promised? Vote them all out. Vote APC out. That's what Precious is saying. And Peter Obi, Competence, Integrity, Equity says, the only public enemies are the ones who have stockpiled old notes and are now hoarding new notes with the aim of thwarting the electoral process through vote buying and other electoral malpractices. Twist it all you like. Nigerians know their enemies, and you, Bayo, are one of them. And that's that on that story. We move over to Abia State, where Governor Okezie Ikpeazu stopped something that was going to happen, something of importance that was going to happen in his state. Apparently, there was going to be a coronation of an emir of Aba. Now, we're not talking of emir of Hausas in Aba, but an emir of Aba, like a monarch, a religious monarch in Aba. And the Abia state government kicked against it, stopped that coronation. But that did not stop people from talking, both on Facebook and on Twitter. But let's start taking our comment on that story from Twitter. Principality says they wanted to try something similar like this in Edo State sometimes last year. We let them know Edo cannot have two rulers. I am yet to see a palace of the Oba of Benin in Kano, Kaduna, and the rest. Kamilu says, I don't see anything wrong with it. All over the country, we have Eze Ndigbo of this and that. All I would suggest is that it doesn't create an avenue for anybody having their own law outside the state-recognized constitution. That Niger guy says, even as a Yoruba person, we're not going to tolerate that kind of nonsense in our land. What happened to Seriki Hausa, Seriki Fulani, and many like that? But they want to give a title that gives coloration, like Aba is Usman Danfodio conquered land. James says, correct me if I'm wrong. Emir is religious cum political office in Emirate with majority population of Muslims. If that's so, Abia State doesn't qualify for an emir to govern the whole state. I recall the nonsense was tried in Edo State but resisted. Abians should stand up. Storystagram says, one day I'll rise to power and I'll use the lessons of boldness I learned from these people. Kai, afraid doesn't catch them at all. I'll move over to Facebook to get some other comments there. Richman Gabriel says, some Igbo people don't learn. Look at what this one is saying. It can be Emir of Fulani in Aba. That's how Yoruba lost Ilorin to Fulani. Get sense, my brother. Ernest Lekweke said, Aba is not an emirate council and should not have any emir. They can have a head of Muslim community in Aba, but not an emir of Aba. Crystal Abazwonu says, we have Eze Ndigbo in Lagos and Kano, but they didn't interfere in Oba of Lagos or Emir of Kano Kingdom's affairs. I know all Hausa communities outside Hausa land have their own Seriki, but for someone to think of enthroning an Emir of Aba is another colonization. Prince OS says, honestly, we Igbos are the problem on this very issue. We go to Aboki land, we crown Eze Ndigbo na Sokoto, etc. Even Eze Ndigbo na Afghanistan. But if Aboki people want to do the same, we say it's not allowed. We fail on this. Emir of Aba must be crowned. I support them 1 zillion times. Nkelechiku Wachiku, our last commentator, says, the people living in Aba and Abia State in general should also help by reporting anything of such trying to hold around their neighborhood. Their evil plans can never work. I would like to move over to the sporting sector, where Cristiano Ronaldo, popularly known as the GOAT, has now broken a record. What record did Cristiano Ronaldo break? You can check your screen there and see that his new club in Asia, Saudi Arabia, said that he has broken the record of 500 goals in all leagues, and there's still more to come. Now let's see how his fans, particularly, and some of his haters have responded to that story. We begin with Evil Lamoti. It says, how has Ronaldo scored a hat-trick at Al Nassr with PSG super team? He is the GOAT for real. Cody says, yay, he's got a few goals against players who wouldn't even get into an English League One team. Let's take it easy. Hater, you can see the name, says, since Messi joined PSG, Ronaldo has played at 3 different clubs. Ronaldo has in all these 3 clubs more hat-tricks than Messi. Well, Hater again saying Messi is ghosting in Farmers League while Ronaldo is destroying the best league in the world. My God, is Saudi Arabia really the best league in the world? We don't know. Tukundane Gilbert said, those in Saudi are not counted. That's hate speech. You should be arrested for that. And now ABC says, bro thinks he scored in a World Cup final. Look at this celebration of Ronaldo there after scoring. Well, he did score 4 goals yesterday. So you can understand his excitement. Rahman says, I see, impressive. Where is his World Cup trophy? Very good question. Oh my God. Now CR7 says, imagine Cristiano almost went to the rival Al Hilal, but he chose the world's first in Asia. The greatness of victory. How great you are throughout the stages. You are the best in the history of football in the world. And this person gave us from 2010 to 2023, Cristiano Ronaldo has now scored a hat-trick in each of the last 14 years. And you can see that very last picture there showing who the GOAT is. GOAT Ronaldo. Well, that's that on the show this morning. That's all I'd like to leave it on the Thank God It's Friday edition of the show. I'll see you next week. My name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. You can follow me on all platforms: Facebook, Emmanuel Ojadigele; Twitter, EM Ojadigele; Instagram, Emmanuel Ojadigele. Follow our station too on all platforms at Western Spring Television. I'll leave you with this documentary from many years ago of the CNN talking about driving in Nigeria and some of the road accidents. See you next week.
Despite Nigeria's and other African countries' road safety efforts, it's estimated 10% of global road fatalities occur in Africa. So we decided to see for ourselves, signing up for a driving lesson with Gobe Bakare. In the car, he says, he uses to teach up to 20 people a day to drive.
How am I supposed to drive on a Lagos road without side mirrors, without indicators, and without even a speedometer?
Thank you very much. See, you will feel it. Everything that you're doing in this car, you are going to feel it naturally.
And so we tried, until
we've broken down in the middle of the road, but it's something people here are used to. We just have to get out and push. Let's go. While we're waiting for Gombe to fix the car, you can see below us here a perfect example of why the roads in Lagos, Nigeria, are so dangerous. There's no road markings, there's no street lights, and there's very few road signs. It's a lethal combination, as you can see from the crashed minibus below.
we get going again, but only to be stopped again, this time permanently by the potholes in the road.